The World is a distance driver from Westside Discs that's designed to let big power throwers throw it hard and not sacrifice too much control. Let's take a look at it. So we'll start with the feel of the World. The World is a very fast 14-speed driver, so it has a very wide rim. And it's fairly deep too, which for me makes me feel like I can really get a hold of it. I can really smash on this disc because I feel like I've got just a really good grip on it. It's nice and deep and very wide, so I really like the feel of the World for my backhand. But if you have smaller hands, you're not going to be able to get as good of a hold on the World because it does have that bigger rim. They're fairly flat. I've not really seen too many Worlds with some dome on them, but if you find one with some dome, it's going to be a little bit more overstable than this one here. As far as plastic, my World here is in the VIP plastic, and that's going to be a little bit more overstable than the same disc in the tournament plastic, but it's fairly grippy and very durable. Also, this World here is 168 grams, which means it's going to have a little bit more turn than the same disc that's a little bit heavier. So moving on to the flight of the World, it's got a speed 14, a glide of 4, a turn of negative 0.5, and a fade of 3. And I would say that's fairly accurate. It definitely is a very fast disc. You really have to throw it hard to get any distance out of it. And the glide, it doesn't quite have as much glide as something like a Destiny or a Giant or certainly not a Sword. But that kind of gives it a unique spot because you have to throw it so hard to get it up to speed, but it's not going to have that unruly glide. You can be very accurate with this disc while throwing it hard. So on a hyzer release, I could get this disc to flip up to flat, but not quite flip over, or if I threw it on a little bit less hyzer, I could get some sort of flex line out of it, but when it was flat, it flew very, very straight. I could flip it up to flat, let it fly straight, and then have that reliable fade at the end. And I think it flipped up to flat easier for me because it is that 168 grams. I think if I had a closer to max weight World, I wouldn't be able to throw it on quite as much hyzer and get that flat flight. I might have to throw it on maybe just a little bit less. On a flat release, I could get this disc to work fairly far to the right, but because it does have that 4 fade, it definitely came back out, and it was a good little flex line. So if you need that shot for a distance driver, the World works great for it. And then on an anhyzer release, I could put it way high and trust that it would hold to the right because it has that turn, but it's not going to hold to the right all the way into the ground. It's going to kind of fade out and get that little bit of leftward movement right at the very end. So when you throw anhyzers, you tend to flip over the disc too much and maybe get like a cut roller. The World is going to try and fight out of that because it has that fade. One thing I really liked throwing the World on was forehands. I could really throw this disc as hard as I want to and not worry about overpowering it because it's very torque resistant and it's a 14 speed, so it's going to go very far. It had, in the lighter weight especially, it had a little bit of turn and then a good long flight before that reliable fade, and I just really like the feel. It's got that deep rim and that wide rim, so I could get a great hold of it on my forehand, and that made me feel like I could throw it as hard as I want to and not worry about it. So what shots would I use the World for? I would definitely use it for skip shots. Because it has that low glide and that wide rim, it's going to get a lot of skip to the left. So if I need to get underneath some branches on that skip line, I'm definitely going to be reaching for a World. Also, it's great for those distance lines, but maybe a little bit more control than something like a Sword or something like that. It'll have that turn to let it access that glide and get flat, but it's not going to quite stay in the air as long, which means I can place it a little bit more accurately in the fairway. So that's what I think about the World. Let me know what you think about the World in the comments down below. Let me know what shots you throw it for and what plastics you throw it in. And I'm actually going to give away this 168 VIP World in my favorite comment down below. Let me know what other Westside discs you think I should review here on the channel, and I'll leave you with an excerpt from the Finnish national epic poem the Kalevala about the World.
All the fragments came together, forming pieces 2 in number, one the upper, one the lower, equal to the one the other. From one half the egg, the lower, grows the nether vault of Terra. From the upper half remaining, grows the upper vault of heaven.